So my name is Jackie McCarthy-O'Brien and I'm from Limerick City. Unfortunately, about 3 months in, Mum being an unmarried woman and me being a child of colour, the nuns and the priests came knocking on the door and took me from her and put me into an industrial school. So I spent the next 5.5 years in the industrial school. It was tough, and I suppose looking back on it now, my resilience started at a very young age. But in the meantime, Mum met and married who I like to call my dad, Mickey O'Brien. And after a year of marriage, they managed to get me out. He saw that I was a bit of an athlete and encouraged me to get involved in whatever I could. So I live very near Shelburne Park and I started frequenting there on Sundays. Dad, again, didn't want me doing an individual sport. The whole point of the sport for him was for me to be involved in a team sport where I would make friends, because that was the problem. So one day when I was down jogging in Shelburne Park, my run was interrupted by a ball being kicked across my path. So I booted it back, and lo and behold, the guy that was coaching some women, Junior King, came over and said, "You've got a sweet left foot. Any chance you want to fall on for a game with the girls?" And as they say, the rest was history. The head went up. I started getting recognised around town, not as the black kid, but the kid that scored a fantastic goal last week or put the ball in the back of the net. So it was my saving grace. It saved my life. I can't underestimate what it did for me as a child of colour growing up in Limerick. Eventually, after years of slogging around Thomond Park, trying my best to get on an Irish squad, the phone call came through. "Would you like to come up and try out for the Irish team?" I didn't do myself justice on the day through my shyness. I remember thinking that day, if I get the chance again, there's nothing going to stop me. About 6 months after I had my first child, believe it or not, I was back 2 weeks after having her, back training. The opportunity came around again. This time I made the Irish squad. When you're there and you've got that jersey on, you're singing around the Vian, there's nobody can deny how Irish you are. I think if you cut me in half, I breathe green, white and gold, you know. I didn't ever let babies interfere with my football, as I played for about 3 months while I was pregnant, so I kept myself fit. And I was back 2 weeks later, and I was lucky enough to make the squad for the Bracken. Came to the attention of the Irish manager. So late '83, I got selected to come back on the Irish team after having my first child, Sam.
I suppose for me, my story is just a little bit different. Even though I followed in Mam's footsteps, for me it was almost a given right to play for Ireland. It was something that I had grew up with. I think I was born with a soccer ball at my feet, more or less. From the minute I could walk, I could kick a ball. And from the minute I could understand my own thoughts, I knew that what I wanted to do was represent my country and play for Ireland. I made the under-16 squad, then the under-18s, the under-19s, and then all the way up to senior. So I've been integrated with the FAI, I suppose, from a very, very, very young age. Or the way I would have looked at it was, I had an awful lot of aunts that kicked ball for Ireland. When someone brings it to the forefront and says, "Do you realise you are the only mother and daughter that has played international soccer for Ireland?" It doesn't really, again, like I said, you don't really think about it until it's in front of you. And I suppose with the hype of the Irish women's team making the World Cup, and it has really brought all that back to the front of everything for us, really, hasn't it?
If I look back at 11-year-old Jackie in Shelburne Park, watching the girls that played, that would have been 1973. That's the first Irish team. I started the year the first Irish team 50 years ago.
And we're still here talking about it today.
Yeah, but look what we're talking about. Yeah. The girls going to Australia.
Yeah, fantastic.
And representing us. It's like the baby has grown up.